is behind the success of top performing real estate agents and mortgage lenders? What tactics, strategies, and lessons learned have they used to break through and achieve elite status? Top performing real estate and mortgage specialists from across the country answer these questions and so much more right here on Real Talk with Homes for Heroes. So grab your pen and paper because we are about to get real. Now here is your host of Real Talk with Homes for Heroes National Director, Abby Waltz.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Homes for Heroes. Thank you so much for joining us. I am joined by my very special guest that I am so excited to be speaking with today. He is our number one Homes for Heroes real estate specialist in the nation, our rookie of the year last year, a hero himself, and an extraordinary human being, always being driven by doing the right thing. Chris Parrish. Chris, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to be here. You have just a slew of accolades with us, not just being our number one real estate specialist, but you just got inducted into our 100 Heroes Served Club, and you haven't even been with us for 2 years. So I know you've got some gems to share with our audience today.
It's funny you say that. That actually just came in the mail. The 100 Heroes Served.
Did it? The award itself?
Good.
Good. I love those awards. They're so cool. You have actually, I was looking at your numbers before we hopped on the show, and you've helped 87 heroes in the last 12 months. Can you believe that?
It doesn't seem that many. It's just, I just take it one at a time and go with it.
Yeah. Well, you do an extraordinary job. For those that don't know you, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and kind of where you're at in your real estate career right now?
Okay, well, obviously, Chris Parrish. I'm originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Met my wife there. We got married in 1998, and then she joined the Air Force in 98. I joined in 99. First base was Warner Robins, Georgia. All three of our sons were born there. From there, we went to Spangdahlem Air Base, Germany. And then from Germany, Albuquerque, New Mexico, back to North Carolina, and then down here to Sumter, South Carolina, where we both retired out of Shaw Air Force Base.
Nice.
And we got 3 boys, 21 years old, 17, and 16. So.
How are you old enough to have a 21-year-old?
Yep, he's in college right now, so he's doing good. But 21, it flies by. So if you got kids, enjoy it while they're young, because they grow up quick.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, thank you for your service.
Yes.
Sounds like you got to tour the world with yourself, your wife, and your family.
We did.
Being in the Air Force. So you've got a favorite base that you were stationed at?
Actually, I did. We enjoyed Albuquerque, honestly, because it rained like 3 times a year. It was always sunny. Sometimes you would get snow off the Sandia Mountains, but other than that, it was nice out there.
Wow.
We enjoyed it.
Good.
But we're from North Carolina, so obviously the South is where we wanted to end up whenever we decided to retire. So it worked out.
Good. It looks like it for sure. And your career is thriving. What on earth brought you to this crazy real estate industry?
It's funny. I was actually 2017. I was deployed. I had left July in 2017, and I was deployed until February 2018. And while I was deployed, I was like, this is fun, but I think the time has come for me to start researching my second career, my post-retirement career. So while I was over there, when I would have downtime, I would research different careers. Real estate always kept coming back. And I had a buddy tell me about real estate when I was stationed in North Carolina. He said, you should look into it, but, it just wasn't right then. But now I was, ending my career. So I was like, well, let me look into it. So I just kept coming back, talked to my wife, and she was like, give it a shot. So when I came back from my deployment, I took 3 weeks leave, went to real estate school. And then I got my license, I went and took the test like 2 weeks later. got my license. So I was doing it part-time while I was active duty still, but I wasn't doing very much because obviously my commitment was still to the military. But it gave me an opportunity to learn and sit with agents that have been doing it for 15, 20 years. I would just pick their brains and stuff to see how they're still in it, because it is an industry where, I mean, it's got a high fail rate. So obviously I'm gonna talk to the folks that have been doing it for a long time to see what I could do to pick their brain. And then January 2019 is when I went full-time real estate, because that's when I retired.
Okay. Wow. Oh my, you're like a baby in this industry, 2 years or so, and you are killing it. You're just knocking it out of the park with how many transactions you're doing. Because I know out of the 87 heroes you've done in the last 12 months, that's not your entire client base. You still help other people too. So first and foremost, tell me what you learned from these top people, because I gotta know this. What did you take and learn from them?
It's one thing, but I'll tell you one thing that's funny is you said that I do help other clients. I actually had a client that called me and was like, "Hey, do you only help military people?" And I was like, "No, I'll help anybody that needs to be helped." I was like, it's just being retired that tends to draw to me. But she was like, "Okay, well, cool." So we set up a meeting. I found her a house and she was happy. I was like, so that is different. But one thing I took from one of the gentlemen I spoke with, has been doing it like 20 years. And his main thing was, he said, call people back. He said, call people back. And I was like, okay. He said, if you don't, he said, it might be an hour from when they call you, it might be 2 hours. He said, or sometimes maybe the next day, but he said, call people back. He said, even if they've already found a different agent, the fact that you call them back is going to stand out, because he said sometimes you can't call people back right away. He said, but call people back. So, and that's the first thing I tell folks when I talk to them. I said, look, if I don't call you back right away, give me a little bit. I'm probably with the client or I'm doing something, but I will call you back. So that's the main thing I took away, was call people back.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So simple, but so effective.
It is. And I've actually been on listing appointments where the individual was like, hey, thanks for calling me back. I had called 2 other people, and I always joke and I say, well, that was your first mistake. You know, you called 2 other people. And then, so, you know, I was like, well, hey, it worked out. So those 2 people didn't call people back, and I did. So I got the listing.
Love it. Keep it simple, people. Just call.
Yeah, keep it simple. Don't overthink it. So just keep it simple. And then obviously do it the right way. You know, do what the contract says. Do what you're supposed to do. And you know, there's just, I don't know how else to put it other than do it the right way. Doing, you know, being in the military for 20 years, you have your regs and stuff. You have to go by your AFIs, and they teach you how to do it the right way. Real estate school shows you how to do it the right way. The contract tells you what to do, so just do it.
Yeah, I love that. I was actually, I don't know if you know this or not, but I was a little taken aback when I spoke to you for the first time. We got to connect over the phone a while back, and I'm not kidding when you like resonate with one of our core values, which is do the right thing here at Homes for Heroes. That concept and that notion drove every single word and sentence that you said throughout the entire conversation that we had together. And I'm like, holy cow, this guy is just doing right by his clients, doing right by his business, doing right morally. It was unbelievable. And it literally took my breath away with how you approach things. So can you give me an example of how you've done the right thing by one of your clients recently?
I can. It comes to, you know, whenever I had took a phone call from an agent that was out of state, and they were like, hey, you know, I see you're on, they read my reviews or somewhere on Zillow or Facebook, and they were like, we'd like to send you a client for a referral fee, of course. And I was like, okay, sure. So I took the name and everything, and I called them. And as I'm talking to them, then I learned that, you know, they're a hero. They qualify for the program, so they're entitled to their hero rewards. So obviously, you know, I could have not put them in it because they weren't coming to me because of that. They were coming to me based on the referral. But once I told them, hey, just so you know, I'm part of a program called Home for Heroes, and because you're EMS, you're EMT, you'll qualify for it. And they were like, well, what's that mean? So I explained it to them. And then they were like, are you kidding? I was like, nah, you're going to get a check, man, after we close this deal. He was like, sweet. So, I mean, you know, I could have not put him in it since I already had to pay the other guy a referral fee. But again, that wouldn't have been the right thing to do. So put him in it, let him get his rewards check. The other guy got his check, and I got what I got, and I was happy because the job got done.
Yeah. I love the reason I bring that up is you're so focused on doing the right thing by your clients, especially for your heroes, that it tends to, a lot of agents tend to just stop at their nose from a thought logic perspective. That was, I'm sure, a hard deal to swallow, being what I'm guessing is a total of 60-ish% referral fees.
55. So yeah, 25 to him, 30 for the Homes for Hero. But again, I mean, if I would have said no to the referral, I would have had zero. So it is what it is.
And it is paying off dividends for you with the amount of deals that you do, which is really the big picture about it. By taking that principled approach, it's attracting business to you.
It
2 short
does.
years in this industry and 100 transactions a year. It's a big deal.
And that's the way I kind of look at it also, because that same individual has sent me 2 referrals that it was only the hero credit that they had to get. So, you know, because he was like, oh man, I used this dude Chris that somebody referred me to, and I got a check because I was EMT. So here's his number. And then they called me up. So I got it back in the long run. It's just, but again, I feel like, you know, if I had not done the right thing, it probably would have impacted me negatively or something. And I don't want that. So
Yeah.
I just take it and roll with it.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I love that for sure. Tell me, usually early on, and I know this from experience in our real estate careers, we tend to learn a lot very quickly. Politely said, we make a lot of mistakes early on just because of lack of experience. Have you had a couple like oops moments that have really taught you valuable lessons that you've been able to apply to your growth?
You know, it's funny because like I hung my license January of 2018, but I didn't take a client until probably May of 2018, simply because I didn't want to have a moment that was just awful bad. So I would shadow other agents for the whole time. And then when I got my first client that I was willing to do, it was a guy that worked in my squadron. He was getting ready to buy a house, and he said, I want you to do it. I said, dude, I haven't done anything yet. So he was my first one, and I had an agent that she literally walked me through step by step, and she always picks on my notebook because I always have my notebook where I'm writing notes or something down. And it was like, send repair addendum this time, get repair addendum back this time. It was literally, and I built a checklist of every step that was supposed to happen from start to finish. And I still have it. They're on the front of these folders. It's checklist saying that, has the contract been sent to the attorney? Yep. Has it been sent to the lender? Yep. So and I'm checklist oriented simply because of my job in the Air Force was production management. I kept track of the maintenance on the airplanes and stuff. So it was a job that involved a lot of detail and, you know, remembering dates, making sure stuff was getting done on time. So, but I have had it to where, you know, forget to order the CO 100 because the guy, I ordered it, he changed the date on me, and then I didn't follow up. So I had to get a CO 100 one time, like the day before closing. Luckily it came back clear, but so that taught me, okay, follow up on the guy who's supposed to be doing the work too, because I knew I had ordered it, but I didn't, you know, it didn't dawn on me. I hadn't seen the report come back because I knew I had ordered it. So that taught me a lesson. Follow up on the people that's supposed to be doing stuff for you too.
There's another column to your checklist now, right? Ordered, actually received.
It is. I kid you, it is. There's a one. It's on my board too that my wife built me this big board up there, and it says CO 100 ordered, CO 100 back. So it sure is a checklist now.
Oh, I love that. I am a huge checklist, write it down type person. And I think that early on, I'm sure you learned that in the military and you've taken that and applied it to your business here, but it helps you like grow. It helps you streamline the process so that you can right? Get systems in place
Hmm.
to make it a lot easier and grow. And you recently, I heard, brought on a licensed assistant, aka your wife.
I don't know about calling her an assistant. You can get something thrown at me from across the room or something, but
Partner.
say partner,
Yeah.
yeah, I say assistant. I'll joke sometimes and say assistant, but no, but yes, probably, 2020 really just took off for me. I mean, I can't even really explain it, but about October, I was starting to hit that wall where I was becoming overwhelmed. It was You're out on appointments all day long, and then because it was daylight savings, so folks want to see houses till 8 p.m. at night. So then you come home, and I had paperwork to do. I'm sending attorney sheets at 2 a.m., and it was just tough. So she started helping with my folders and my files, but again, I wanted to keep it legit, so I didn't let her do too much stuff. And then she started real estate school in November of 2020, and then she got her license in February. She did the online. It was like self-paced because of COVID. There was no in-person stuff, so
Yep.
online was way different. I told her, I said, it's hard for me to even keep up with something online like that. So, but she got a license in February of this year, and again, that's been a tremendous help because she can show houses while I'm showing houses, or if I'm out showing houses, she can catch up on the folders.
Wow. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's a tremendous help, I'm sure.
It is. It sure is.
Yeah. Tell me, how has that helped your business? Has it helped you guys grow even more? Are you seeing more deals come in? Are you able to support more? Or are you kind of treating this more as a work-life balance moment?
Well, it was supposed to be a work-life balance moment, but because the market it's real steady here at in Sumter, and just what's today, Wednesday, Monday, she was with some clients showing houses. I was with clients showing houses, and then Monday night we wrote 2 offers that got accepted for both clients. So at the same time, it has increased business because I could have never worked both of those clients because of the time frames the houses were being shown. So it would have ultimately could have resulted in one of the clients losing the home they wanted because I wouldn't have been available to show it whenever they needed to see it. So her being able to go show it to them allowed us to be able to, service both of those heroes, and they're both heroes. So I mean, so now they're both good.
Yeah, that's great. What's your market like there? I know I hear a lot across the country about it being a very tight market. We're very limited on listings, on average across the board. Is it the same there?
It is. And inventory is super low. I think I looked at the inventory today, and just in new listings was like maybe 12. Where as when you see it in 2019 or something, new listings might be 45 or something. But so, and it's very competitive when it comes to really tough on buyers right now because sellers, the ball's in their court. They are holding all the cards. So, and then there is no, like, you get some people. I love the client who's like, hey, well, my dad says I should start in about 5 or 10 under. And I said, well, you can do that, but don't expect a counter or that you're going to get this house, because it's a different ball game now when it comes to putting an offer in. You literally got to come with your best from the get-go now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. How you say that it's a tight market and that it's limited inventory, and yet I continue to hear and I can see in the background you've got a huge amount of files that are under contract that you're managing and juggling. Where's your business coming from? How is it coming into you?
It all comes from Facebook, really, honestly. It does. It comes from Facebook, just people referring, or being in the military 20 years, and my wife did 20. So we each know people that's all over the world still at bases. And I got a call the other day. He was like, hey, man, so-and-so gave me your number, found out I was PCS in the Shaw, and said, call Parrish, man. He retired out of Shaw and he's a realtor now. So a lot of it's just referrals. That's all from Facebook. People I was stationed with, or that my wife was stationed with, or clients here. Each base has like their little, I hate to say secret societies, but their little groups and stuff like that. So I get a lot of referrals that way because I may have helped somebody who's a photographer. So they're in like a photography group or something, and somebody joins their group that's looking to buy a house. Oh, I call Chris. I got one client that called me and two different people had referred her to me. So I was like, cool. It's just word of mouth. And I think that honestly comes from just doing the right thing and treating people right, listening to them, and actually giving them what they want.
Yeah. That's wow. Words of wisdom. I'm jotting that down right now. Words of wisdom. You heard it here first, people. Do the right thing and just listen.
That's it. Listen to them. Don't send them stuff they don't want. They tell you they want 3 bedrooms. Don't send them a 2-bedroom. They get mad. Yeah. It's funny because I think back to when me and my wife were looking for a house for the first time. She'd get so frustrated because she gave our realtor specifics on what she wanted, right? And it seemed like we'd get 2 listings of what we wanted and a bunch of other ones of what weren't even close. And she'd get so frustrated with it. So I've always kept that in my head that when I'm interviewing a client and then, we're going over, I tell them, I said, now be specific because I'm going to send you what you want. If you tell me you want 3 bedrooms, then I'm going to send you 3+ bedrooms, So if you tell me something's optional, then okay. But if it's a requirement, that's what I like to call the must-haves. I was like, what's your must-haves in a home so we can focus on that?
I want to dive into that a little bit because not everybody takes the approach of actually interviewing clients, right? And sitting down with them. Tell me the story behind that. What does that look like for you?
And to me, like when I say interviewing the clients, and I always tell clients that when we're talking, I say, it's a 2-way interview. You're interviewing me to see if you want me to be your realtor, and I'm interviewing you to see if I'm going to take you as a client because, some people, you just might not be a good fit. And I have no shame in letting someone know that, hey, I don't think maybe I'm going to be the agent for you just simply because your expectations are here and I know we can't get there. And stuff. And then same with a listing appointment. I mean, I'll go on the interview and make sure we're going to work well together, I think.
Do you think has that worked? Clearly it's worked well from you from a transaction and a unit standpoint, but has that worked well for you in business too?
It has because people know that, I'm not just doing it to do it. Like if I take them, then I truly want to help them, I guess you could say. But so it's helped.
Yeah, we talk about that notion a lot here at Homes for Heroes. And I think it's one thing that attracts a lot of people like you that are successful with us to the program is working with those that you connect with and relate to and can enjoy the actual job in and of itself, and not just those who choose to work with you because of what it is that you do. So I love that you said that there. I didn't pay him to say that, people. I promise.
No, that's always been there. Just, again, and I try to make it as simple as possible for people. I tell them in the beginning, look, especially when it's working, because obviously 98% of my people are military people. So I tell them I've been in your shoes. I know what it's like to have to move across country and either buy a house or sell a house. So I try to make the process as painless as I can so they can just focus on, if they're coming to me, they can just focus on leaving that area they're at now and just let me take care of what's here and stuff. So, and I think that puts some more at ease because I've been there.
Yeah. Well, it's a common bond that you guys can share, and you can speak the language, because I know military, even down to the branch, has their own acronyms and language that they all speak for sure.
They do.
Okay, you mentioned and touched on the big hairy beast that is Facebook a couple of minutes ago. I have to ask, you say you're getting a lot of referrals from there. Are you using it as a marketing tool? Are you just being yourself and throwing information out there? What does that look like?
My Facebook is really simple. If you were to look at it, you would probably see pictures of sneakers on there, or you'd see pictures of my dogs or my family. And then the pictures, I have my closing pictures that I do. My wife always creates a little collage and it'll have like the hero with their check, might have a picture of the house. If they're coming to South Carolina, have like the state picture with the state they're coming from. And she does these little collages, and I'll post them on Facebook on the day we close. And I actually have people that have asked me, hey, when do we get to take that picture and stuff? So that's really it when it comes to Facebook. It's pretty simple. I just, I don't over market it for real estate. I mean, you see a piece of me too. I like sneakers. I got a bunch of tennis shoes and we got 2 dogs, and then I got 3 boys, and I like to fish every now and then or something. So,
oh, so much fun. I love that. And you've got a running joke with your clients too going, don't you? Something along the lines of
yeah,
sneakers?
they always say they never see the same pair of shoes twice during a transaction. I said, but and then it's funny because they tell their friends, and then their friends will come to me for the talk, and they're like, "Yep, okay, we see that pair. Let's see if we see it again." So I'm like, "Okay." So I know you talked to somebody before that's mentioned that.
Too funny. Well, what would you, besides doing the right thing, and just pretty much being you and who you are and setting the expectations to your clients, is there any other success strategies that you would attribute your success to?
I think it's just finding your niche and obviously, working that, or say like, obviously me being military, that was my thing. How could I make sure people know that what I was doing was could benefit them, whether they received a rewards check on the buy side or sell side of a home. It was really just finding that niche and just finding out how to let people know. I think that's the biggest thing. And honestly, I would say 9 out of the 10 clients I've helped this month or whatever didn't even know about the Homes for Hero thing. They literally came to me just because of recommendations from someone else that used me. I actually had a conversation before me and you first got on where I had sent them all the paperwork to look at, and the Homes for Hero stuff was in there, and they was like, wait a minute, we get a check back because we're working with you? And I was like, well, yeah, that's the program. It didn't dawn on them at first whenever we first met, when I was talking about it, that they were going to receive a rewards check, and they were like, oh, dang. So, it's kind of like good and bad. I'm like, well, dang, it's good they're coming to me because, somebody thought of me to refer me, but they didn't know about the program that they were going to receive a rewards. So it's really hard just to actually figure out, and I still haven't figured that out, how to really get the word out what the program does, because I mean, it's just me, and now me and my wife, only 2 people in a big area like this. It's tough. So again, and the Facebook helps obviously because people start to see the pictures and everything, and then they ask questions. So it's picking up more and more now where people are actually asking about the program as more to just coming to me because they were referred to me from someone. And what's crazy is all the referrals are heroes. So they got the check, but they're not even telling them anything about the check. They're just like, oh, Chris was awesome. He helped us find a home calling, and I'm like, they didn't tell you they got a check? And they were like, no. I was like, what the heck, man? Like, okay.
Oh, that's
So,
so funny. Well, I'm glad the closing pictures are paying off for you. Those big
mm,
check signs are some of the best marketing that you can find out there for
they
sure.
are.
Yeah. You talk about finding your niche, and I know there's probably a lot of people on here. There are so many military members out there, and I know you, having prior military experience, being retired out of the Air Force and working with a ton of military clients. Tell me a little bit about how to perfect being an agent that focuses specifically on military, because I do know they have special needs that you've really got to cater to.
You do. It's one, knowing their situation. Like if they're coming here in July 5th is whenever they get to Shaw Air Force Base. They have limited number of days in TLF that the government provides for them. And sometimes, they might have to move out because the next family is coming in. So when it comes to setting this timeline with your client, especially being military, you have to be keen on when they get here, when is their TLF dates up, when can you close? And if you can't close, prior to their TLF dates being up, can you set them up in maybe a short term or something? It's just about knowing that they do need a place to live. They're coming with kids, pets, or sometimes it's just, just the individual. But for the most part, they have, a family. And I've been wife, 3 kids, and a dog living in a 2-bedroom temporary unit waiting on our house to be ready. So it's not fun. So if you can give them options and just know that you need to stick to them timelines, because when their furniture gets dropped off, if you're closing a set for 15 June and they're setting their TMO to drop off 17 June, you need to hit that 15 June target, because if they have to reschedule their furniture drop off, it could be 2 weeks later that they have to deal without furniture. So timelines are very important when it comes to working with military people and sticking to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just dropped, I know this because I've been in the Air Force community for quite some time, but you dropped a couple of acronyms in there, TLF, right? Temporary
Yeah.
living facility and all that
Yes,
kind of stuff.
ma'am. Mhm.
So you've got to really know the language to know the effective questions to ask your clients. Do you have a go-to resource if somebody was brand new, didn't have any military experience, and that was the niche they were wanting to focus on? Where could they go for resources to find out how to best help their clients? Do you have any?
I mean, I don't, unless they would have access to the nearest base to maybe get out there and talk to it's the Airman and Family Readiness Center is what it's called now, and to maybe touch bases with them just to see what they can offer to help out. But obviously, there's all kinds of certifications like the military relocation program. You can get that cert as an agent. Those are small tools that can help you, but really, unless you could sit down and talk with someone who's actually in the military or that can just give you the lowdown. I hate to, like, hey, this is what we need because this is what we need. If we need to close 15 June, let's close so I can get my furniture dropped off.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to where you started this conversation with me, is that you asked the people that know. You went to top agents when you first got in this business to learn from them. You asked the people that know, and don't be afraid to get vulnerable and ask questions that you don't know the answer to learn
Yes.
from the best. So,
And I think that's the biggest thing. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I wasn't. I mean, the one individual that told me to call people back, I think when I started at my first firm, there was probably 10 of us that started at the same time. And he had told me, he said, you're the only one that's asked me to sit and talk to me. I was like, okay, well, been doing it 20 years. I want to know how you're still doing it in 20 years, So I'm asked the questions. And then it's funny to like watch him do stuff like a simple seller's net sheet. He did it all by hand, paper, calculator, and I had an Excel formula and did everything for me. And he was like, wow, it took you like 15 seconds and took me 10 minutes just now. And I was like, sometimes. So I took that and was able just to, put my own spin on things too, but still take, the core of what he said, just call people back and do it the right way. And that's 2 simple things he said.
I know you were working as a solo agent before you and your wife partnered up.
Yeah, don't say assistant.
How were you managing all of that? Do you have a system that, besides checklists, right? Do you have an actual system, or how were you managing all these transactions?
It was on an Excel sheet. It was like the Excel sheet would have the client's name, and then there was a column for each stage of the transaction they were at, whether it was we were still looking for a home. If we were under contract, then it literally had, okay, when the home inspection was due, when the repair addendum was due, when it was due back. It was just broken out for just there was a block for every stage of the transaction. So I called it my status sheet. So I had one sheet, I could look at the Excel sheet, and it had everybody I was currently working with and what stage of the transaction they're at. So my wife had took that sheet and she made me this big board on my wall over there to where now I can look up and see where people are at in their transaction. Or if I'm on the go, I print my sheet still and just take it with me.
Perfect. Love that. Oh gosh. Do you have, I mean, you seem pretty and I don't mean this in a negative way, but fundamental, like back to basics. If you can just master the basics, you're going to do a really good job. But do you have anything that's been like a super big return on investment for you that you'd like to share?
Super big return on investment. I don't. I mean, people ask me all the time if I'm spending money on Zillow leads or something like that. I'm like, no. I was like, I ain't like whenever I did my taxes, they were like, so how much you spend on advertisement? I was like, nothing. I was like, it's just they're like, wow, okay. So no, I mean, I wish I could say I did, but I haven't. Other than being yourself and just treating people the way they want to be treated. I mean, that's honestly what it boils down to. Think about yourself. If you were buying a home, what would you want your realtor to do for you? And that's kind of the mindset I put myself in still is if it was me on the other end coming from Italy to South Carolina, what would I want my realtor in South Carolina be doing for me to make sure I was taken care of when I got here? And that's just what I try to focus on.
Mm, I love that. And I don't know if you noticed this or not, but you just said treat people the way they want to be treated, right? The
Hmm.
old adage is treat people the way you want to be treated, but you kind of just tweaked that a little bit. And I absolutely love that you focus on them and kind of making sure that you cater yourself to what they're looking for. That's
Yeah.
so smart.
Because there are some people that you'll have clients that they want to be known, they want to know every little step of the process, and you got some that's like, just tell me if there's an issue. Other than that, I'll see you on closing day. So it's you just have to fill them out and see how what type of person they are, and then that's how take care of that individual, and it makes it way easier than because you can't do everybody the same. So that's why I say treat them the way they want to be treated. If they want to know every little detail, tell them every little detail. If they want to see you at closing, then see them at closing.
Oh, I love it. We have covered so much already. Are there any other things that you feel like we missed that you really wanted to share?
It's I one thing I do know is like trying to branch out and like you say like when you find that niche, people tend to stick to it like me, the military. But I help the EMT guy and stuff. And I think my thing is, I guess I've been fearful more so to branch out to those other organizations because I don't know the lingo. So that's what myself I'm trying to get over is, I don't want to go in there to one of their briefings or something and, not know what I'm talking about. So I think it's still a learning process for the whole Homes for Heroes program because it does cover so much. I mean, teachers, law enforcement, and I'm getting better with actually law enforcement. I got a couple of city police officers I'm helping currently, so which is cool because I get to hear cool stories about the area whenever we do meet for something. So it's just, but so I'm learning their lingo as we're sitting there talking. I'm like, what do you mean? What's that? So I still think I have a lot more growing I could do as far as with the Homes for Hero program, not just be the military guy, as people call me, when they so, but it is. And I think it's like, I would like to know if, I could reach out to someone, just somebody watching that maybe their niche is police officers or firemen, like message me on Facebook, tell me how I can help those guys or how I can reach out to them so they can benefit from the program as well. Or teachers, God knows I owe teachers a lot. So I need to figure out a way to make sure they know I can help them as well. But
Well, I may have a few key introductions that I can provide to you off
okay.
show for that specifically for sure. But you're so right. I mean, they all have their own unique needs. Military, obviously, from a timing perspective, and pretty much being told where to go when and when you need to have your stuff wrapped up and ready to go. It's very regimented. But same with law enforcement and firefighters, they've got their own. Usually it's 3 different shifts. They call
Hmm.
it different things, A, B, or C in some spots, but, knowing what shifts they're on so that you know when to call them or when their night sleeping time might be during the midday or whenever. That's a big one. Healthcare is the same way, very long hours. So I think that's wise of you to always be a student and be learning and figuring out how you can cater even more to some great heroes. So hold me to my word. I do have a few key people I want to introduce you to after this, for
Okay.
sure.
Look, I'm about to take notes. I'm about to say, Abby owes me.
Oh man. The only other thing I wanted to ask you, and I think it might be a glimmer into kind of how you operate as an agent, is if I were a new buyer, client of yours, can you walk me through what that process would look like? Like, do you have set paperwork that you give or specific questions that you ask in the beginning or different tools that you use to set expectations? What's that look like?
We're here usually when I'm meeting with the client for the first time, one form that we go over is the South Carolina brokerage relationships. That's by law. You have to explain, what single agency is, dual agency, designated, dual, and all that stuff. So, I go over that first just to get the legal stuff. Let them know, hey, this is, and I tell them we're not signing a buyer agency agreement right now. This is just so you understand the agency process. But then usually we just talk about buying a home. I ask them, is it first time buying a home, second time? And if it's a first time, then I break it down from start to finish, where it starts with, if I take them as a buyer's agent, then, I'll be responsible for finding them a house. And then we talk about lending. And then we talk about, when we're looking at houses, just customs and courtesies about the houses. Talk about earnest money. Because some people don't realize that there are upfront costs with buying a home, like your earnest money that you're going to need, your home inspection if you want to have one of those. You have to pay for the appraisal. You could have to potentially pay for your closing costs. So a lot of people don't realize those costs are up front. So I like to get that on the table, usually at the first meeting, just to tell them the expectations of buying a house. And then after that, if we answer any questions, they'll ask what earnest money is, and you explain that it's a credit toward your closing costs. They ask about the home inspection. The biggest thing here is VA appraisal, though. They always have questions about that. And then closing costs. I was like, you explain to them how we get the lender. He'll give us an estimate of what your closing costs will be. Because before I put any offer in on a house, I always ask the lender, hey, what's the buyer's closing cost going to be on this? Give me an estimate so I can let them know what potentially they could have to bring to the table if the seller's not paying any of it. To me, it's just easier that way, because sometimes people are like, oh, well, maybe I can't do that right now. I'm like, okay, well then let's just hold off a little bit and let you save some more money to where you can, because obviously right now sellers aren't giving up. They're not paying really no buyer's closing costs in today's market because inventory is so low. So, right. And once we establish, that's my building the relationship portion, just letting them know to me, they enjoy it because now they're informed on the decision. It's not just me saying, okay, sign this paper about the agency. Yep, now sign this paper, this buyer agency agreement. So you're stuck with me for 6 months or whatever. So I like to explain the whole home buying process before we even sign any type of buyer agency agreement and start looking at houses.
Love it. Keep them informed, just like you do yourself on your military niche and other soon to be niches as well. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it. Well, I just have a few quick rapid fire questions for you if you're up for being in the super hot seat.
Oh man, okay.
You've done such a great job of explaining kind of advice that you've taken over the last few years in your career and applied to help you become successful and grow. So I'm going to tweak this one just a little bit. So instead of asking you, right, what advice would you give a new agent, because this show has been filled with it, if you could go back in time, back when you first got licensed and actually started out in this business, what advice would you give yourself?
I would say be patient. Because at first, when I first started, you see other agents like, man, they doing all these deals and I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs or something like that. But it was just, and I honestly, I think that also drove me at the same time though to get after it, because I wasn't patient. And but I would just tell myself to be patient and just your time will come kind of thing. Just keep doing what you're doing. But it's like you just want that now, or that go mentality. And then in this world, it's not always a go. And I was used to go. So I thought I had to be going, but I really didn't. Sometimes sitting, working on your Facebook page is actually building business and you don't even know it. So
Yeah.
I would just say, be patient, Chris, and just take it one day at a time.
Love that. Wise words spoken. Next question. Are you a reader? I don't know this.
If it's not on ESPN, usually I don't have too much to do with it when it comes to reading and stuff like that. I don't like people ask me about the news or something. I say, was that on ESPN? I don't remember seeing that. But, if it's not on ESPN, but there are some books I've read. I had the, what's it called? $1 Million Agent. And then there was a part 2 book that a realtor guy had, gave me to read. And I did read those. And, I took some nuggets from there too, because obviously, I'd actually just finished my broker's class. I hadn't taken the test yet. I'm waiting until July probably because my license renewal is coming up, and I was told that's the best time to do it. So, and I just looked at that, how building a team and stuff, if that's the route I want to go as far as my own brokerage or something. And it just, so I've only read those 2. I can't say of any other book that I've read besides. I said, was dealing with history of the Yankees or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. $1 Million Agent's a really good one. And I didn't realize you were looking into possibly starting a team or maybe even a new brokerage. I think that's great.
Yeah.
You've got the business level to support it. That's for darn sure. And then last but not least, don't worry, it's not too challenging. We have all been at home for the last year and a half, way longer than I care to admit. So this should be an easy one. What is your favorite room in your house?
My favorite room in my house is, does the screened-in porch count as a room?
Totally.
Because I like the screened-in. Well, I don't know, because I like my front porch because of the pond and the ducks out there and stuff. So actually, the front porch would be it, because I've actually taken my laptop out there and sat and watched the ducks and little geese out there and the turtles and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I'd say the front porch would be my favorite room.
Nice.
Because when I'm in this room, it's all work. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's great. Well, Chris, thank you so much. I see you're getting so much love on our Facebook feed that we've got going on. If you guys have more love to share with Chris, or if you're catching one of the recordings, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. We are constantly monitoring those guys to either get you the answers or to share them with our special guests for sure. But Chris, thank you so much for your time and openness. And I know what you shared today will help so many others, whether it's helping more heroes or just becoming better agents and helping their clients better. So thank you, buddy.
Oh, you're welcome. Like I said, if there's somebody got a question, shoot me a message. I will get back to you. It might not be the same day, but I'll get back to you.
The tagline comes back in. It comes full circle around here, clients or non-clients. So I love that. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. We will be back next season with another episode of Real Talk with Homes for Heroes. Thanks so much.